do the Nigerian people have anything to really fear if these powers begin to say, hey, we want to have our military bases here in the country? Do we have anything to fear?
Well, I think a lot is at stake. We need to take a much more, deeper and historical perspective to understand why a certain section of the country, particularly some intelligentsia or influential opinion leaders in the north, is actually opposing the possibility, and it's still within the realm of possibility. The possibility that Nigeria will be one of the potential hosts, to U.S. bases. This is not the first time issues like this have come up. If recall in 2009 actually, shortly after the 2007, shortly after the United States, reconfigured its posture in Africa and then created a new command known as the African Command. Yeah. That generated a whole lot of debate. And in order to douse apprehension and concerns that it raised, the United States first started by saying that the African Command is not a combatant command. They tried to now
to water it down a bit.
The fear that comes with having a combatant command, right? So they claim it's not a combatant command. But we need to understand that even at that point in time, Nigeria was vehemently against the sighting of the AFRICOM, and even moved beyond that to make sure that countries that were potential good candidates, for example, Liberia, Nigeria funneled in a lot of diplomatic pressure to ensure that Liberia did not host AFRICOM, and then the United States was then forced, to host AFRICOM in Stuttgart, Germany, and from there it has been operating. Now the latest, as you have mentioned, is the fact that the United States is being forced out of Niger. Because they operate two critical bases there, what they call the Air Force Base 101 and 102. 101, of course, is just very close to the capital, just in the capital near the international airport. And then 102 was the one that with partners, allies, France, and other European countries to maintain a real-time situational awareness of events that is happening in the Central Sahel, using it as a launch pad, not just to gain intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, but also to launch attack against some terrorist groups. And again, there's a lot of questions and concerns which we can discuss that. But now, because of the deterioration of relationship between the Nigerians and the French, which have also spilled over to that, which has led to the Nigerian junta asking the United States to pull off its forces. Now, the debate is Nigeria a good candidate to host such a base or basis? And are there risks or reasons, for us to be concerned, as you have rightly pointed out? I think if you look at it from different perspectives, I don't think Nigeria should ever contemplate hosting those bases. And I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 reasons why we should be worried. Number one, you have already seen that there's already increasing contention by superpowers, trying to get a lot of foothold or to gain more entrance into the West African region, the Sahel region, for example. With the booting of the Americans, we have already seen that the Russians are already creeping in, So if Nigeria is going to now host that base, again, is heightening this our environment, this our fragile environment, to become a space for great power competition. And I don't think it's something that is going to bode us any good at all. Second is that we already have a fractured relationship with Niger. And you can understand against the backdrop of Nigeria, as leading the ECOWAS to impose sanctions on Niger, but more importantly, also threatened to use military force, to compel the junta to leave. We have already had a fractured relationship, and I think I need to put this on the table. Amongst Nigeria's francophone neighbors, Niger has been the most enduring. Niger has been the one that has the most robust, most friendly relationship with us. But the unfortunate incident of last year's coup have created a serious gap, between us and Niger. Now, if we are likely going to host this military base by the US, it's really going to compound rather than address the diplomatic gaps we already have with Niger. Meanwhile, we needed to have that close relationship, that robust relationship with Niger to be able to more effectively deal with some of the transnational cross-border security challenges we are having. Whether you're talking about banditry or whether you're talking about a very enduring, strong relationship we've had in Niger in dealing with the problem of the Boko Haram. Don't forget the fact, again, I keep on mentioning Niger. Don't forget about the fact that when we had the major challenge of Boko Haram attacks and displacements in the northeast, the deeper region of Niger played host to most of our brothers, our nationals that became refugees. And so this is a relationship that shouldn't be lost on us in terms of trying, to establish a relationship with a foreign power that will make a situation that is bad already worse. The third point I think we want to have to make is what we as security experts do pay particular attention to, which is like there's a direct connection, there's a kind of a correlation between the presence and the interest of Western powers and heightened commitment and the interest of global terrorist groups. And this is much more pronounced even before the death of Osama bin Laden. Granted that some of these global terrorist groups are now hunkering down, but you would completely agree with me that wherever you have U.S. interest, terrorist groups also tend to increase their presence and their attack. They may not be able to defeat U.S. forces, but for them also, it adds to the symbolic value of their global jihadi ideology, that they are fighting their enemy. So, given that pronounced ideological position, particularly from global terrorist groups, that the U.S. is their staunch enemy. Anywhere, any place, anytime you have clear U.S. interest, then it's likely a very good magnet that will address the interest of terrorist groups. So I will not be surprised, for example, if we accept to locate that base, then you begin to see some level of increase in terrorist attacks in Nigeria. Then the last point I want to make is that has to do with our own strategic interest and security as a nation. You could also understand the enormous capacity of the United States to leverage some of the technological prowess and assets it has, to pick intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. But something is very particularly important in that aspect. They are not always ready, able, and willing to share that intelligence with so-called allies, particularly when you needed it so. You will recall their experience with the 2014 Chibok incident when over 200 Chibok students were actually kidnapped.